Good evening, everyone. This is Jim with Console Room 2022. It is, as a friendly reminder, right now, it's December 30th. We are talking to the future. Can you hear us? Well, today's topic, or the topic for right now, are streaming services. I am with special guest Arnold Bloomberg and Diana Ton. And we are here to talk about our favorite services and our favorite things about streaming. So let's go at it. First let's go ahead and discuss what we have, what devices we use for streaming. Arnold, would you like to take the lead on that?
Sure, I can start. I mean, one of the things I know we were talking about before we even began was how crazy it all is out there with so many different options, and we all come at it in different ways. So I still have Verizon, Fios, and cable, but we don't use it all that much. We've become
Mm-hmm.
very much a Roku house, and through that, we pretty much access everything that we watch on a day-to-day basis, and that pretty much includes all the streaming services that we subscribe to. So, for instance, we have Disney, Shudder. I do a lot of horror stuff, so we got Shudder, which is like the premier horror streaming service,
Yep.
and just a variety of others. You know, HBO, Paramount, and all these other things. In addition to a lot of free stuff, but we use the Roku as our main gateway, basically, for all of these things.
Okay. Diana, how about you?
So we have the Fire Cube because previously we just had a Fire. We didn't use the stick, we used the thing, and then it kind of got old. So we had to get upgrade because we had purchased items on Prime. So to keep it makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the fact that I'm a Google person. Um, so I have we have two smart TVs that have Roku built in, the Fire Cube. I have my Pixelbook laptop, my phone, of course, because you get those apps. But I also have some 3 Chromecasts because previously some of the items were in negotiation with Amazon or Roku. So the only way to get it would be using a Chromecast. So we got the cheap version of Chromecast to use just until so I have 3 of those connected to each TV.
Okay. Um, I personally I use an Xbox One, for, a lot of my streaming. And also I have a Apple TV. And I just love the Apple TV. I think it's a wonderful cable box. Even though I don't get well, for cable, I have YouTube TV. And both devices play it very well. So I think it's a wonderful interface. So basically, that's what I use. And all the devices that we use, I mean, can use our phones, our tablets, computers, and whatnot. So, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about some of our favorite and wonderful streaming services and what what we like. One of the things that some of the shows that I do enjoy are on Hulu TV, or on Hulu, and I know Diana is a huge fan of Letterkenny.
Hard no. Unfortunately, I also know all the jokes that you guys use all the time on it from it. But yeah. So.
I mean, who here else uses Hulu, and what do you like on Hulu? How do you like the interface? Let's talk about that.
We've used Hulu, but there's nothing I can think of particularly that's like a go-to choice there. It's just mainly been one of the things we've had that gives us some options. I mean, one of the things that I think anybody who's been like settling into this new era of streaming can understand is that sometimes you find yourself sitting there for like 30, 40 minutes looking for something to watch and you're just going through everything.
Right.
And it's just all the options are nice. I mean, and it's also not forget that a lot of this is a lot of privilege too. I mean, it's a lot of money
Right.
for a lot of these subscriptions too,
Oh,
and not
yeah.
everybody can, start doing that. But so we have Hulu and we like it. But you mentioned interface. I think I would say the one of the most maddening things about all this is the fact that since there's so many, all the interfaces are often so different, from the littlest things like finding where a search button is to the
Mhm.
larger things like how they sort and organize. So you're basically having to relearn the process of finding content
Right.
every time you go to another place. And there's no easy solution to that because there are all these different companies, but it can be very frustrating. I think frustration is the number one word for a lot of the streaming experience.
Oh, you
I have
are
s-
absolutely right. Go on.
I have something to say about the searching. The nice thing with the Fire is that I can push the remote or say, Alexa, I'm safe. Alexa's not up here. Um, you could say, I want to watch, I don't know, Doctor Who. And it will pull up at the Doctor Who, and then I have an option to say, watch more. And I can literally have it take me to whatever app it is on. But that's the only advantage to that, instead of trying to find the search button. But like Doctor Who could be found on, do you want classic? Do you want Flux, which is on AMC Plus right now? Do you want it on the HBO Max? I mean, it's like, I don't know, do I want classic or what do I want? So
Okay.
you also have to know that
interesting.
too.
Yeah, like I said, I don't own I don't own Fire, so I'm like, yeah, it's all kind of new to me. That I would like to play with one time, but again, the options that I
And where I
have
live.
you know, the options that I have with my Apple TV is just wide. It's just really, really wide. Um, but yeah, you brought up a great point, Arnold. Is the flipping from one. Well, it's also there are also some of them are different on every single device as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If I go to Hulu on my Apple TV, it's one way, but if I go on my Xbox, it's another. And and they change it up every time.
Mhm.
One of the reasons, though, um, I got Hulu was I had cable a few years ago, and I had what is it, Prime, CenturyLink Prime or something like that, and it was hot garbage because one of the problems with um, cable is they'll just give you crappy viewing, and you to get a better like HD back in the time. I don't know how it is now, but it was grainy, it was horrible, and I actually got better viewing. It was crisper pictures off of Hulu, from streaming. So eventually I said, what the hell with this? I got rid of it and started watching show programming on, you know, Hulu, and then I went to essentially YouTube TV, for my, most of my, current programs that I need to watch right now. So yeah,
And it was my wife who was familiar with the Roku before me, and I had never explored any of those options before. But I mean, as I think we're all aware, like in the last few years, the entire uh, experience of looking for the things we all enjoy watching has permanently transformed and is still transforming every day. And like, for instance, I'm a huge Marvel fan, so naturally it's going to have to be Disney Plus because that's the
right,
only game in town. I also love Star Trek, so it's like, all right, Paramount Plus too.
right,
It's like there's like certain things where also, if you're a fan of something, if you like a certain thing, the problem now is that the industry is so divided that you have to get access to certain things, or you're going to miss it. You're just not going to see it. And so she was familiar with Roku, and like Diana was saying about looking for things. That's one of the things in the Roku too that we like is it gives you more of that global search you can look through. It doesn't catch everything though. So we found that we really have to do a lot of the work of filling in the gaps. It might not find things that are on a certain service, particularly the movie ones like HBO or Showtime, that we then go on the web to find out if it's there or not. And like we're looking for a movie or something. So it does also put a lot of the pressure on you as the viewer to do a lot of homework to be able to find the things
Right.
you want to find. And then on top of it, you're forced to spend a lot of money if you want to get access to a lot of the things that you love. And now with Doctor Who is a great example for all of us that are obviously in the world of Doctor Who. It's been hopping around quite a bit with HBO and Amazon and AMC. We actually found like halfway through Flux that we could still get a season pass on Amazon, actually. Didn't even know that was possible because
Wow.
I thought it had already left. And so it's also murky where everything is landing in some cases.
Right.
Can I say one more thing on the searches?
Sure.
I truly love Google. Like for the fact that you can type in the show you want, and for a lot of them or movies, they'll give you watch options, and then it will list every thing that is on there. I don't know if you guys can see it. Well, that's
Yeah,
Doctor Who
yeah.
Flux,
Yeah.
and all of those have some Doctor Who on it.
Oh, that's neat. Okay.
Okay.
It's not every show. Like I tried Yellowstone, and it won't tell me because there's still that or whatever.
Mm.
Yeah.
But you know, like it's kind of nice, so I can like, oh, we wanted to watch Christmas Vacation. Do we have to get up and get the DVD?
Mhm. Right.
I don't have to search that way. I can just search through Google that way. And
Another
yes, you
thing,
can.
another thing that I do is I'll get on the computer here or even on my phone and I'll type, oh, this Star Trek Discovery, where is it streaming? And then, it'll list all the options and all the subscriptions that I have. It pulls it out where you can see it.
Yeah.
You've got a subscription for this. Sometimes items are like, oh yeah, as long as you have Amazon, you can watch it on Amazon. It's right there, as long as you've got Prime, you can watch it. Sometimes, no, you can't.
Another thing about that can be very confusing is that sometimes you're looking for things and you find out that like I was saying, we have so many different things now. Is Natalie still has access to her Netflix account. It's like a bunch of things. You reach a critical mass. We actually drew the line at a few things. We finally decided can't bother with Apple TV, can't bother. There's only so many things. We got 47 different things. But you also will sometimes hit that thing where it's like you'll find it on Amazon, say, but it'll be one of those things where it's like it's available to you on Amazon if you have the add-on for whatever it
Right.
is. Like say, if you also have IMDb television, or if
Right.
you also have, so like before you know it, they've engineered this to make sure that you're subscribing to like 3 different things simultaneously to even get the thing you're trying to get. It's just so endlessly frustrating to have to do that. And like I said, you reach a critical mass point where you have to decide, well, how many things do I want access to? And,
Yeah.
and be comfortable with that.
Oh yeah,
And that's
go on.
and that's one thing I like. I mean, we still have cable. Don't know where the cable remote is, but we still have cable. But apparently it works better with the bundle. Anyway, but like saying is like I can watch. How did I watch American Horror Story? Before it moved over to Hulu this season, the day after, with FX as a hub, I would have to use the cable channel on Prime to get to FX, log in through the cable on the app, which was fine. Did that with to watch Walker with CW. Right now, I've been doing it for history to watch Star Trek 55 years history documentaries. But it's nice to have that little bit of an option to have cable, but at the same time, it's like, why are we paying for cable? I barely use it. We don't even know where the remote is.
Yep. That's a huge thing. It's just kind of hanging on to something, archaic. But yeah, I mean, and also what's great about streaming now is cutting the cord, because there are so many alternatives to cable. I mean, I've got YouTube TV. YouTube TV. If I wanted to, if I had, you get 5 extra accounts with that under your family membership under the umbrella. So if I wanted to give everybody here access to cable and I'm paying for it, I can. You can just hop on and just watch whatever you like. Another thing is that
Less or no commercials.
well, commercials are nothing. That's bathroom breaks. That's going to get a snack or something. Commercials don't bother me. But if you kind of, I mean, we're getting all these other alternatives like IMDb TV, Stir, STIRR is a, I've got it on my Apple TV, and you can watch. It's kind of like Pluto TV in the same regards. They have these little specific channels, and folks, if you watch Pluto TV, they have Doctor Who. They have an entire channel dedicated to old Doctor Who, and it's a blast. But there is so much out there, and it's just so large. And again, also, other services too now. Let's say with Disney Plus, or any other things, is that they allow you to have now profiles. If you not noticed that, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you were mentioning commercials. I know that for us, it winds up being a case by case thing. There are times where we don't mind. Like there's some things we paid for the tier where you do commercial free, and that's nice. And certainly when you're like binging something a lot, in a lot of breaks, it's nice. It's also nice for movies because it's like I'm not going to go back to the experience of sitting and like as if I were watching a network showing of a movie again if I can avoid that. That's what I have DVDs and Blu-rays for anyway. So that I'd like to get rid of. But sometimes when we're watching a few episodes of something where we just have access to whatever it is and we didn't pay for the commercial free, it's not the worst thing in the world. And some of them are like that. So we kind of do case by case. It's also a matter, I have to say, of making choices based on where your comfort level is and how you feel. And so, for example, there are a lot of free ones out there, whether it's Pluto or a number of others that are free. And I used to like that too. I would watch Pluto a lot. And we pretty much cut off Pluto entirely because one of the things that we found was for everything we watched, including Doctor Who and Mystery Science Theater and things that had commercial interruption, Pluto was allowing commercial buys from places like Newsmax and OAN and right-wing organizations. And I thought, well, I'm not going to watch any entity that supports fascism. So I cut it out. But so that's fine. There are like 47 different other options out there. You look for the thing that you're comfortable with. You look for the choices that give you the options that you like. And if you can't find something on one or something is a little odd for one reason, there's another one. And like you were saying, Stir, there's all kind of stuff out there. And there's also going to be more and more because there are all these different companies jockeying to have their position online as well. So it just seems like it's going to be a long time right now of a lot of different companies and entities all wanting their own streaming platform. And it's going to be years, I think, before we start seeing a shakeout, a little more consolidation of things. I would anticipate Disney will be a big winner there, but we'll see what happens anyway.
Yeah, we're going to see an explosion of like, oh my God, I need a piece of the pie. I need a piece of the pie. And like right now, like a Peacock, Paramount Plus, HBO Max, Disney Plus. Oh my gosh, and I think the most expensive one is HBO Max. I think it's like what, $15?
Is that really the highest one right now, HBO?
I think
I'm not
so.
sure. I'm not sure. Okay.
I
And I mean,
who-
that's the thing. They all want to own their own content. I mean, like, the Disneys and Paramounts and everything, they all want to present their own content. They don't want to have to like license or subdivide. So that's another problem. That's why everybody is having their own channel.
right.
But yeah.
I personally, don't have stars or anything like that.
Mm.
But I do have HBO Max. I've got to watch Sex and the City. God, I've got to keep up with that. No, no, no. I actually got it for Justice League, so yes, I will admit to that, and I liked it. So, but again, yeah, because if we're looking at this, all these little services are popping out their own programming too.
That's true too. Yeah.
HBO. I mean, come on, they did the Snyder version of the Justice League, and I'm sorry, but it brought in a lot of people. There are a lot of people who hate it. Brought in just equally, just as many people who enjoyed it and had fun with it. And now we're getting, what is it, the Peacemaker, from Suicide Squad, making having a series, and there's Sex in the City. All these different series and shows are popping up in HBO Max. And we know Disney is doing a bang up job with theirs. I mean, come on, we all, or at least I enjoyed Hawkeye.
Oh, I thought it was awesome. It's just possibly one of the best things they've done.
Exactly.
But you're right also about the proliferation of original content on all these services too. It gets to be this,
Right.
it's too much. I mean, in a way, when we first started talking, you mentioned, using Apple TV and you love it. And it's like, yeah, there are things on there also that sound great to me. We just drew the line for right now. That was more just a case of not being overwhelmed. But then I also think about the fact, well, if you have that, maybe you didn't have two or three other things. And we've
Right.
now reached a point also where people are all talking online about something, some show that's the pop culture moment. And if you don't have the service, you don't know what's going on, with that anymore. And it's not as simple as it used to be, where there were some networks and some other channels, and even with cable,
Mhm.
where there might be a chance that millions and millions of people are watching the same thing on the same night. It has really divided the pop culture landscape.
Right.
And there are all these conversations going. And now the other thing is, because of the speed of media, there isn't a show that drops on any streaming service that the very next day they don't have an article up on 50 sites saying, now let's talk about that ending. It's like, we haven't seen it yet. So,
Oh my God,
I
yeah.
mean, that's another challenge that comes up.
That was the challenge anywhere for anything. Just now it's just more because you still
Yeah.
had, back in the day, you'd watch what WCCO or CBS for something.
Mhm.
And then of course,
Mhm.
but the social media part now is really big. But before it was like you actually had to hit the message boards. But now, or the TV guide, spoiled enough stuff too.
Right now, yeah, you
If
go to
anybody
any.
remembers
Right?
that.
I remember.
Oh,
the
I
TV guide.
remember that. I remember being my parents' remote. Can you change the channel to?
I was
channel-
talking more of the viewers, our viewers, not you guys.
But
But then I know, like you have to get certain channels just to watch some things, especially Doctor Who.
Yeah, that's it.
But I did learn that at Black Friday, AMC Plus did have $1.99 a month for 12 per year. So I ended up paying $23 with the tax for a whole year of AMC Plus, but I only did it just to get Flux. But you never know, I might find something.
Well, they have other decent program out there, though.
I'm sure there is.
No, I just, here's the question, amongst the panelists here, who has the Discovery Plus?
We do not. We definitely, like I said, reached a critical mass point. So I don't have that. I've already encountered a couple times where we've looked things up and thought, oh, that looks interesting. We might want to watch that. Found it was Discovery Plus, and oh well. So I mean that's going to happen, but no,
Right.
we don't have that one.
It gets prompted by some of our YouTube vloggers we watch at night,
Hmm.
because also Curiosity Stream can be bundled with it.
Yeah.
But it's like it just hasn't gotten to that point where we feel we need it.
Oh, that's right. I know there's at least one show that we found out we were watching it on the Food Network, and we found out it had actually debuted as a Discovery Plus show, which
Mhm.
also brings another thing up, which is there is the possibility sometimes you have something on a streaming service, you might be able to get it eventually through other
Right.
means if you wait, if you have the time, because we found out that was like the second airing was the airing they were doing over on Food Network, and we hadn't even heard of it until that point. So, that's a
Yeah.
possibility too.
They did that also with Travel Channel.
Hmm.
Travel Channel now is the
Yeah.
home of paranormal, investigation and whatnot programming. Dirty Secret, I love it. And sit there. If I wasn't talking to you guys, I'd have my on travel right now watching whatever. Um, but but a lot of their Discovery is like going, look, come to Discovery Plus, their family of shows, because they are stations they're showing program early. You can watch it like 2 months in advance, kind of like a Patreon account. Here you go. Check this out. You'll see it
Mhm.
first before everyone. But again, I like this stuff, but I'm not excited enough to get Discovery.
It's an interesting way of looking at it, the way you're describing it too, because it's sort of, it kind of flips the script a bit. It's like not saying, oh, this is a debut and then you're going to get a second airing later somewhere else. That makes it sound more like you're getting the privileged, elite approach of you're getting to see it before everyone else.
Right.
And by spinning it that way, it makes it sound even more enticing if someone's like, oh, I don't know if I want to spend that, but it's like, oh, but you're getting early access to these things. And it's an interesting way of putting it. And I could also see that as like a great marketing angle for a lot of these kind of services too, to say you can be special, you can see these things before anyone else, and that could work.
Well, here's another service that we haven't talked about is ESPN. I know we're not the market for it. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that, but
Which is
good,
why I didn't bundle Disney.
but
Uh,
a really good friend of mine, he wanted to watch the soccer channels
mhm.
or the soccer events, the World Cup. So he gets ESPN so he can watch all of that,
Mhm.
whenever he wants or watch it live. It's all there instead of
Yeah, I
having
mean,
cable.
my in-laws have been dedicated football watchers, and a lot of other things, from the Olympics to skating and to lacrosse and a lot of other things. And it's more experience of that I've had in a few years than I've had my entire life. And I've learned, just like anything else, a lot of great services. There are a lot of options. I mean, one of the things about sports programming, of course, is that it's always been baked into the system, and that like that's always been the foundation where the money is for the cable companies. That's why you can never actually get a bundle on cable that doesn't include some of the sports channels, because that's where all the money is actually coming from. So I used to love the idea of like, can I ever get a thing where I'll get cable and tell them, take all the sports channels off, I don't want them. You can't
Right.
do that. But I mean, go to streaming now, of course you pick whatever you want, but like anything else, a lot of great sports options too for people that want it local and
Right.
national and global.
Well, let's talk about services that if it appeared, would you get it?
Okay.
Russell Davies has stated, going, why did, Doctor Who is prime. The environment is now prime for them to have its own streaming service.
Well,
I mean, it's wide open if once he comes back. Would we watch a Doctor Who streaming service? It would showing Torchwood, The Adventures of Sarah Jane. God knows what else. Not Class. Class. No, we don't.
I was
talk
going to
about
say Class. Somebody likes it. It's,
maybe a
Something
Paternoster Gang, series.
you can have 24 hours of Canine and Company on one channel that just runs over and over
my
again.
God, that would be amazing.
I mean, really, are any of us in the entire console room community going to say no? We wouldn't want a streaming service. It's all Doctor Who. I mean, I think
would
that'd be a given, wouldn't it?
Right, it would. It would. I mean, we all want it, but would we get it? No.
I'd have to make room for that from something else if that were going to actually be the case. I think I'd have to get it.
But here's the thing: Paramount Plus is going to be doing some channels like that, and they're going to do a whole Star Trek channel.
Yeah.
Plus, there's streaming of the new material like Discovery, Picard, et cetera, et cetera. So, like, who says HBO Max couldn't do it, and it's already in your service?
Yeah, exactly right. Like it's a channel within something rather than its own thing. Right. I could see that too. Yeah. And the thing is the like you were saying with Russell coming in, I mean, at this point, there's no predicting how this is going to go because the sky's the limit right now that really Sony's involved. And
Exactly.
they're going to want to maximize the potential. And I mean that for good and bad. I mean, it's good for us as fans too. They're going to want to maximize the potential and make as much from this and also get as much content out there. And in a world where Disney has realized that like owning all of our childhoods and giving it back to us every week is a smart move. Right. I can imagine them saying, look, why not Doctor Who? Give them something. I mean, we may be closer than ever before to exactly the kind of thing we always said as fans made sense sometimes, which is why not give Paul McGann like 8 episodes to do something? Right. Even a couple years ago, that still sounded crazy, to a lot. Like people would say it and we'd say, well, yeah, but they're never going to do that. Now, that would make a lot of sense. You could put that on a streaming service and give him 8 episodes. Why not? Yeah. And there's a lot of possibilities for that now.
Exactly. I mean, the door is wide open, and the pockets are a little bit deeper, for Sony. And they've learned recently that it pays off to work with somebody else with with an amazing IP. I mean, Spider-Man. If you kids in the future don't know, the #1 movie right now is like Spider-Man. No Home or whatever.
No Way Home. Yeah.
No Way Home. But but it's huge, and I can see Sony going, let's play with them, and if they want to do streaming content, let's do it.
Dan, a text of the animated Big Finish story. You're right. That's a huge thing right there. Give Big Finish a chance to do a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Have them sit down for a meeting with Sony and see what happens. Because really, you don't know what could happen now. It's all the possibilities.
Well, one of the things I always have problems with, like the, with the stuff that has gone to animated Doctor Who, the older episodes. Is that it all looks like that it was filmed during that time, it was done during that time frame. And I always was sitting back on, why can't they do more to make the scenes look bigger and more cinematic? And the adventures just use the voices and whatnot.
Right.
And just reanimate everything and have fun with it. Get crazy. But no, BBC, you haven't listened to me yet. So please.
They also didn't have the resources, and still don't in the way they're doing it. But who knows? That's because I agree with you. That's be a fun experiment. You could take, say, a Hartnell or a Trout and Arrow soundtrack and you could do whatever you want with it visually.
Right.
And it could be all kinds of inventive stuff.
And I
Exactly.
kind of like having the old school type of animation with those
Yeah, it's
stories
still-
because it fits that period.
Yeah, it's still cool. It's nice to see it in black and white and to see it kind of approximating what
Mhm.
you'd
But
hope
then-
to see.
With the Big
But-
Finish stories, you could do what Jim wants.
That's right. You could do anything with those. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, again, it just shows you there's like so many options. There's like all kind of possibilities. Who knows what we're going to see in the next couple of years?
As long
Once
as
we
Jim's
get
maybe Jim should be the showrunner.
There you go.
That would be so much fun. The things that I would do. A lot of space adventures, but that's here. This is not the panel for that. Just go to council room and just come to our horror panel. Yes, this is a nice little friendly reminder because we will be doing live panels at council room this year. So it's not all streaming. So if you can make it, come on down, visit us, say hi, drink with us, have, it will be an adventure. All right. Back to today's programming. Diana, what's on your mind? Talk more about streaming.
I don't know. It's so hard because I have so many, and currently Hulu's my biggest watch because they have a lot of. I'm watching SVU. I'm honestly in season 19 now because I can just throw it on and let it go and do things. I can, which is hence why I don't always get to some of the new content because I don't have the capacity after work to sit there and want to watch something I've never seen.
Okay.
I can that's exactly the same conversation we always have, where we really have to have energy to watch something new because we know we have to concentrate. And it's like we could put something on we've seen before. It's comfort,
I'm a
so
bad Trekkie. I'm 2 weeks behind on Discovery because I've not had the energy.
Tonight,
Shush.
after this,
Jim, shush.
you are staying up. Oh, wait, you got to work in the morning. Let's go ahead and ask the question, of what is your favorite show that wouldn't exist without a streaming service?
it's a very good idea to think about too, is the opportunities that stream. Well, an easy answer, first off, for me to think of it, I wouldn't necessarily favorite show, but certainly, I mean, you wouldn't have had any of the Marvel shows they're doing without the Disney Plus thing, or Mandalorian, another good example, because of Disney
yeah.
Plus.
The Book of
I wouldn't
Fett.
necessarily say I'd put it like at the top of the list. I mean, I enjoy all of them, but certainly there's extraordinary opportunities now that we have had to see so much pop culture explored in like a limited form, limited runs, like ongoing runs, only because, and granted, it's like we've said with a lot of these things, it's good and bad, only because all these companies want to make a lot of money, as you were saying before, off popular IPs. And the only way to do that is to just keep shoveling new content on. But it also means as fans, you get amazing opportunities to see stuff you never would have seen ever without this. And sure, not all of them will work, but given the opportunity, why not try and see what happens? And so we've been seeing a lot of really great stuff. And I think some of the things Disney Plus have done are at the top because they have the money and the resources and the people to do a really great job with it. But there have been plenty of, I'm sure people can think of some other good ones from Netflix and other places.
Well, okay, Netflix, The Witcher.
Okay.
Cowboy Bebop, the live action. I'm one of the few people who enjoyed it. I don't think we would have seen Zack Snyder's Justice League, the 4-hour movie, if it wasn't for HBO Max.
I got another one for you that connects to you talking about, you use YouTube. Cobra Kai wouldn't have happened
Oh my God!
without the current environment. And it started on YouTube and is now
Right.
currently moved over to Netflix, but it started because of YouTube Red. And
Yep.
now they're going to have at least 5 seasons. So there's a lot of things like this, extraordinary opportunities offered by the potential of streaming services. And one, I didn't watch it, but I know that a lot of people had an enormous amount of respect for the One Day at a Time reboot that Netflix did.
Oh,
I think they also were very mad that it was canceled before its time. But that's something that Netflix also does quite a bit.
right.
But
Mhm.
there's a lot of stuff like that out there.
But you know, I don't know if it's because of our tastes, but a lot of the big programs or the big events are, you know, genre shows.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, and it pulls in the people, you know, and stuff that we're craving. I mean, my God, what the biggest one of the year, Squid Games.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's another thing too that we haven't really talked about, but is worth pointing out, is that you have a lot of Korean and Japanese, and I mean, just really in general, non-American productions, including many that would never before have achieved the level of awareness in pop culture that they would have before, have been able to get audiences here and in the UK and elsewhere because of streaming services, and have become their own
Mm-hmm.
moments in pop culture, their own events. That one's a great example. I haven't seen it yet, and people are always coming to me with like zombie recommendations because I do a lot of stuff to do with zombie cinema and zombie entertainment. And everybody's telling me also that Kingdom is another Korean show, I believe, that's been doing like zombies in the medieval era.
Right.
And again, so many of these things might not have come to light in a wider, like global market without
Exactly.
streaming services.
Well, uh, we're getting broad culture. We're not being American centric now. We're getting, you know, I mean, obviously, our favorite show is Doctor Who, and that's from, you know, Britain. But, you know, we are talking, you know, Squid Games, Korean from Netflix. And Netflix is pulling in a lot of Korean and, you know, Thai shows. You know, it's just like we're seeing a lot of, you know, Bollywood is another stuff. Um, and if you've not seen a Bollywood film, please go see a modern Bollywood film. If you like action, adventure, and crazy stuff, Bollywood. Oh my God, it's a different culture. It's totally. You're sitting back going, "What did we just watch?" That was either amazing or I'm kind of freaked out right now. But it's kind of cool. And again, I recommend watching this stuff. I recommend watching, using your streaming services to see things that you would not normally see. I also am a huge fan and love Shaw Brothers martial arts films. Those are basically all the martial arts films that happened during the 70s,
Hmm.
you know, kind of in around the 80s and somewhat. Fun, crazy stuff. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, you know, that I had when we were starting this, one thing I definitely wanted to bring up, and this is a good place to do it, is that we're talking about how streaming services give you a lot of opportunity to widen your horizons, perhaps to see things
Right.
from other cultures, from other countries. And that's true. And it's worth knowing that and taking the advantage of, you know, the opportunities that arise to do that, while also remembering, and this is one of, like, I wouldn't maybe necessarily pet peeve, but one of the things I always like to point out is that people also, unfortunately, often have the perception that in the world we're in today, with everything online and everybody streaming, that we have more access to more content than ever before. But actually, it can be very selective. In other words, there's a lot of stuff that is no longer available because if they don't think it's saleable or might be able to drive profit for them, they don't bother with it. So, for example, if you don't have physical media of some old movies or TV shows, you're not going to find them online on any streaming service. And even the streaming services from companies that own these properties, whether it's Paramount or the networks, you might go there and find, why don't they have this thing on here? It was one of their biggest titles because maybe for whatever reason, rights or licensing or music or this or that, they can't make money from it. So it's worth knowing while you're looking for things that sometimes we're also losing some access to stuff, and it's worth fighting for that access wherever possible.
A lot of black and white films. You know, if it's not done by a big name, you know, it's hard to get a hold of.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, I mean, try to find some old W.C. Fields films. They're hard to find.
Yeah,
know,
and I mean, a lot of stuff that's old will get dumped on a bad service where they just put an old
Right.
print because they don't care, you know. So
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. So it's worth keeping in mind is that there are a lot of things that we're losing while we're seemingly moving into an era of more access than ever before.
Right.
And it's just worth knowing that when you're looking for something to watch.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff wasn't done in HD
Right.
Yeah.
or 4K.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Or different streaming services will have, like Netflix has a really bad versions of the Star Trek Next Generation, but you can find a better version of it for what, you know, like they might have done the HD update
Right.
on Prime at one point, you know,
Yeah.
and Netflix is like still cut half the screen and
Right.
Well, they're
not
going
full.
to be pulling everything back to Paramount too, anyway. So
They are, but
yeah.
at one point, Next Generation can be found on Hulu, Prime, Netflix,
Yes.
Paramount Plus. Who knows what else?
I forget. I think they were really moving toward that. They're really going to do the HD remastering for Deep Space Nine. I hope so.
I
I
think
know
that's
it seemed like it was more
outsourcing,
likely than it had been, but
but you can do that. Like each one might have like, or even SG1 has a better. You can watch it better on Hulu than you can see it on Netflix.
that's a
Just
great
depending
point.
on who's paying for the better quality.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
Yeah,
good
but-
to know.
I didn't HBO Max, you know, put up a better version of Babylon 5. A cleaned
Oh, I
up
don't know.
version.
It might be. Oh, another example of this kind of thing too, that's also always good to know, is like you'd think you'd go to the company whose property it is, you think, oh, well, surely they're going to have the best. So I was like, just a couple of weeks ago, I decided to go back and watch the first $6 Million Man that I'd seen in years. And it was like one of my first shows that I really loved. So I thought, okay. And I went to Peacock because it's NBC and there's the whole $6 Million Man run. And I'm watching this particular episode, and I at least remembered this one enough to think something felt wrong. And I looked it up afterward and found out there was an entire scene missing. And it's like, there's no reason for this. It was commercial free what we have. It was the supposedly unedited episodes, but they are not. In fact, what I found out afterward that other people are yelling about, that they are not responding to anyone about at all, is that they are currently hosting the syndicated cut versions of all those episodes on Peacock. Probably because somebody just made a stupid choice when they uploaded everything and can't be bothered to fix it. But that's another thing that you sometimes encounter is like you think you're getting something that's uncut and pristine, but very often you're getting syndicated repeats. And unless somebody cares, they might not do anything about it.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky world of streaming to navigate to find the things you want to find.
Or like Yellowstone. Paramount owns it, but you can only find 1 through 3 on Peacock.
Hmm.
And then the new 1884 and the 4 6s, they're in the same universe episodes, shows, they'll be on Paramount Plus. It's like, but of course, season. So it's like, I'm stuck with watch Peacock, which is fine because I got it through my cable company, but still.
Mhm. Yeah.
Wow. I'm speechless on that, Di. Speechless.
Now he's disappointed he can't watch the full cut. So $6,000 Man.
Yeah, I know. Well, fortunately, I bought a DVD box set years ago, but like you were saying before, it's like sometimes you just don't want to bother getting the disc out, and like you'd think streaming would solve that problem for you, but no. You know,
I mean,
sometimes...
I collect movies. I mean, I've got like a few thousand, films here via DVD, Blu-ray and whatnot. And one of the things I do enjoy is Vudu.
Oh, okay. Right.
Which is a streaming service in itself. Because what you do is you put in your code and you get your movie on your on their streaming service. So you have a hard copy when your cable is down or internet is down. You've got a hard copy to watch. It's there. Or if they decide to, how do I put it? Sometimes things, as you said, things vanish. Shows, are no longer aired or streamed, so you have a hard copy of it. Certain movies, I'm still trying to find a copy for.
I always tell people, so to the end of its existence, support physical media at all costs. If there's something you really like, buy the Blu-ray, buy even the DVD. If you can't find the Blu-ray, you never know. Because remember, the other key thing about all of this is they are shifting all of us from an economy where if you like something, you want entertainment content, you used to purchase it. Now what you're just purchasing is access to it.
Right.
And that access can be revoked at any time. You have no ownership of any of the things that you're viewing on streaming ever. And so if you buy physical media, you at least have the option of knowing you can retain something you love.
Or they can take it away from you. As in, it's like, well, the license is over. Let's go ahead and remove it from Disney Plus, or so on. It's the company's choice. Yeah. And us as viewers, we don't have that access.
Right.
But here's another topic we should talk about. What service or what service do we have, all of us, that we really should kind of like move on and get rid of? Instead of for me, my least watched service is I will say Amazon and Hulu. But I keep Amazon around just because I do a lot of packages. A lot of things shipped to me, so I don't have to pay for shipping and handling. But Hulu, it's like, I'm going to get rid of it. Today's finally, oh, damn it, the new Letterkenny is out. I need to watch that. Or it's in my list and I want to watch it, is the Steve Martin short, thriller.
Yep. Only Murders in the Building. Yeah.
Exactly. I still want. I think that's going to be on my list this weekend to kick back and watch. So
we just kind of did it. We had signed up for an AMC Plus thing and wound up canceling it. I already had Shudder anyway, and that was part of it. But we found after playing around with it a while that it didn't really offer like much more that we didn't have access to through other means, so we cut that. But in some cases we feel like, well, every once in a while we might try something, and then if it doesn't work out, we can always cancel it and try something else. It's good to stay loose and not feel obligated to be stuck with anything.
See, and I'm the opposite of Jim. Like, Hulu is my everything. I have HBO Max is paid through there, Showtime is paid through there, and I watch Hulu so much more than Netflix. But like, we can't get rid of Netflix because there's still stuff on Netflix that is still there. I just want an annual plan with Netflix. That would be great.
Okay. All right. And like I said, for me, it's Hulu. There's just not enough there to really keep me wanting to watch it every weekend or anything like that. But sometimes I catch myself going, God, there hasn't been a new Star Trek. I haven't watched Paramount Plus in a while. I'm bad at that. But
I think mine is actually BritBox. It's $6.99 through the Amazon channel, but it's there in case I want to watch classic Who.
Right. I did have Curiosity stream for a while, and because it was only $2 or $3, for the service. But eventually I said, you know what? I'm tired of paying for it because I never watch it. Nothing seems updated here. Bye-bye. But speaking of bye-bye, I think it's been about an hour, folks. So, any last thoughts? Anything with streaming that you recommend, or series, or what? Let's hear everybody's final thoughts.
But just as a final thought, I'll just reiterate one of the ideas I'd already brought up, which is that the benefit for viewers and for fans is that there's never been more opportunity to seek out the things that you love. And if you can't find it on one service, you might be able to find it on another. And just keep your threshold for what you're willing to pay, stay comfortable with that, and know that there are always these opportunities to seek out new things and old things that you enjoy. There's always an opportunity out there to seek out some more stuff on these services. So it's just great opportunity here for all of us right now on all these things.
Or, like what you're saying, Arnold, is like, if you know something is going to be, it's dropped every week. So it's like, okay, fine, whatever. Wait till it's done and then just do the stupid trial period and binge it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know if they've caught on. Change your email address if you have to. I mean, I'm sure most of us have more than one email.
Oh yeah. And I guess my final thought is, get out there, explore all the different shows and programs. But I'm gonna turn around and say something crazy, but we talked about earlier. Support hard media, support the Blu-rays, support the DVDs. Find the shows that you enjoyed as a kid. The Last Starfighter or something like that, or even, more modern. But just grab those, because eventually they're going to go away and they're going to be hard to find. And they won't be streaming. So,
Hey, we never thought 20 years ago that we could watch some of that old stuff.
oh,
Mhm.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, we hope to see you at Console Room, 2022. It's going to be an adventure. Come by, say hi, have a drink or two with us at night. Come to the video room. We will do old episodes of Doctor Who, or come to one of our panels. I know I'm doing a couple of panels with Diana there, and Arnold, you're not coming here.
I won't be there, but I think I am going to be doing a live panel on the weekend itself.
Okay.
I think it was the panel on Russell coming back. So I should be participating in that. So
I might
I'll kind
be
of
on
see
that one
everybody.
too.
I'll kind of see everybody that weekend. Yeah.
All right.
Oh.
So
Well, I'll be found.
Yes, Diana?
I was going to say, I can be found. I'm not on a lot of panels this year because I'll be not participating. I'll be helping out with the escape room, but also Wibbly Wobbly Wednesday, Saturday edition of Doctor Who Trivia from TC Trek Trivia will be there Saturday night. Come get the trivia, start watching your Doctor Who, because Tierra and Cisco's questions are not easy.
All right, folks. I think that's it for tonight. You take care, and hopefully we'll see you. And also, remember, Saturday, New Who for, another year. So, check out.
There's going to be a few specials throughout the year.
All throughout the year.
Yeah. He's doing swan songs for her like they did for Tenet, but...
okay.
We'll
see. Yeah, we'll see. All right. Take care and have a good night.
Night, everyone.